Hello and welcome to the Empress podcast. I am your host, Jessica, known in the online space as Jess the Empress. I started this podcast to help you be present with yourself, cope with chaos, and simplify your life. I do this by combining psychology, behavioral science, and the tarot. I have a background in mental health, specifically a master's in clinical social work from USC, and I'm a professional tarot reader. So get ready to have a nurturing, creative, and empowering experience with me as we use practical magic. Hey there, coffee lovers. Are you tired of settling for boring coffee? I have a treat for you. Today's episode is brought to you by Heartwork Coffee Bar, your one-stop destination for exceptional coffee experiences. Whether you're a coffee connoisseur or just someone who appreciates a great cup of joe, Heartwork Coffee Bar is here to elevate your coffee game to new heights. At Heartwork Coffee Bar, they take pride in their craft because each batch is carefully roasted to perfection, ensuring that every sip is a symphony of flavor. From the rich and the robust to the light and fruity, they have a coffee blend for every palate. And here's the best part. For you amazing podcast listeners, Heartwork Coffee Bar is offering an exclusive 10% discount on your purchase. Just use the code Empress10 at checkout and you'll save big on your order. Why settle for ordinary when you can indulge in the extraordinary coffee from Heartwork Coffee Bar? Remember to use code Empress10 for that special 10% discount and treat yourself to the coffee experience that you deserve. Don't miss out on this fantastic offer. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks to Heartwork Coffee Bar for making today's episode possible. Now go grab your favorite mug, brew a fresh cup, and enjoy the podcast with the perfect companion, Heartwork Coffee Bar. Cheers. Hey love, before we get to today's episode, I want to ask you to rate and review my podcast. Giving me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts would mean the world to me. I love knowing who's listening and what everyone is getting from the episode, so please take a moment of your time to share your thoughts, and I look forward to reading your reviews soon. Hey, hi, hello, besties. Hi. I hope you're good. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I am hopping on here today because I had posted this on my Instagram stories and was like, you know what, let me just share a little bit more. One, so that you're not feeling alone in whatever it is you're feeling. But then two, I wanted to normalize a process that I don't often see talked about. And I thought it would be helpful because you might be beating yourself up about doing this thing that I'm going to launch into in a second. And there's no need to beat yourself up when it's actually fine, normal, healthy, all the things. So before I get into it, I'll kind of share my experience. And I had a breakdown yesterday. It wasn't a breakdown that was a surprise. I wasn't triggered by something that was new in my life. I had just had it. I was at my limit. And I literally just had to cry it out. And in my Instagram story, I was saying, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many things I'm grateful for. I'm so happy. And I've gone through so many changes this year. And I was talking about everything with my partner. And I felt very validated and very seen and heard by him. And that also made me really emotional. So there's a lot of things just contributing to my tears that really felt like they could not stop flowing. They just kept coming and coming. And I was like, oh my God, it was one of those cries where it's so underneath the surface. And I don't know if you're like me, but you can feel that you need to cry, but you're not able to really get it out. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I had finally gotten out this cry that I had been carrying for a while. And there had been little times where the tears came out, and I was feeling some type of way. And I was like, finally, I'm letting this cry out. But it wasn't the big release. And if you know, you know what I'm talking about if you've been there before. And so I just decided to take the rest of the day off. I did not have the emotional capacity for my clients. And so if I can't handle, what they're bringing me, I'm not really in service to them. That's my opinion. And so I was like, I need to take the day off. I cozied up in bed. I drank some magnesium and some vitamin C. I watched a bunch of movies. I had 3 movies. Half of them were finished. And I was like, let me just finish all of them. and then turn on my comfort movie, which is Harry Potter. I love the Half-Blood Prince. That's my favorite one. And I just relaxed. I kind of like was in and out of sleep a little bit. I went to bed early. I chilled like super hard. And I really, really needed that. But I want to say that if you're in this place where, you need to feel your feelings, and like they're kind of like around you, if that makes any sense, or you feel them kind of coming up and then they're just not coming out. I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think sometimes when we talk about, self-development and spiritual work, there's this assumption that like, okay, you should be able to just tap right in and feel your feelings and release them and then move on with your day. And I just don't find that to be the case all the time. And it's certainly possible some of the time. But I feel like it's important for us to have a conversation about what else happens, like pretty naturally for a lot of us. And for me, I just had a really big recognition. Like it's taken me a while to really calm down. Sometimes like when you're in a really hypervigilant state, it's hard to notice that that's actually the state that you're in because you're so hypervigilant. You don't have the time or the capacity to really like reflect on how you're genuinely feeling about certain things. And these certain things that I have big feelings around in my life have been in my life constant for like years, like since like 2018. And there's some big changes that I'm feeling like I need to make because I've outgrown things in my life that I've been using for that long. And there's a natural sense of fear that I have. I don't know what's on the other side of this. I have no idea what happens if I let go. I'm so hopeful that everything I want is on the other side, but I also know like it's not a guarantee. And so I'm coaxing myself into this space of just letting my feelings come up and feeling them when I can. And I'm not beating myself up about whether or not the feeling lasts in my body for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 days. I'm just letting myself really be in this process. And my partner and I were just talking about how, I really do deserve happiness. And it's something that I long for. It's not that I don't have it, but it's also that I'm not being valued in certain areas of my life at the level that I know I should be valued at. And it's my responsibility to change that through doing the things that I'm going to, end up doing and I already have started to do because I deserve to be getting what I want. You know what I mean? Like I deserve to feel valued and appreciated. And, it's such a shitty feeling when you're not feeling valued, right? It's so crappy. Like I fucking hate that feeling if I'm being very honest. And, I had so many things kind of like create so much tension, and I'd already been feeling that tension and it just like bubbled up. So I want you to remember that, your feelings, they take time to feel, and there's nothing wrong with you if you know that there's something you need to feel, but you just can't quite do it. I want to give you a couple tips on how you can maybe help yourself out here. And the first one is one that's a foundational belief. It's a mindset shift. And then it's also a shift that you're going to make with your breathing and your posture. Okay. So when you're like this and you're hunched over and you're feeling sad all the time, like that's not going to help you appropriately process your emotions. You want to kind of be in this space of confidence because no matter what you're feeling, you're going to be fine. Okay. And this dovetails really nicely into the mindset shift because as I was crying to my partner, I was literally being like, everything is going to be fine. I believe that. I know I'm going to be fine. I believe everything is going to be fine and work out the way that it's meant to. But also I'm allowed to feel sad in the moment that I do and scared and unsure and all the things. Like those things can all exist at the same time. So making sure your mindset is right is so important. When you're telling yourself that everything is going to be okay, this is not necessarily bypassing the pain that you're in the moment. It's letting yourself know that you can feel your feelings and it's okay to feel the way you feel now because everything's going to be okay. And then in the future, everything is going to work out and everything is going to be okay. So giving yourself that mental reassurance is a necessary step. And what this helps you do is calm your body down. See, when your body feels safe, when your nervous system is regulating, and you can have that space enough for that feeling and that emotion to actually flow through your body and come up. Because remember, emotion is just energy in motion. So that energy finally has the space to really come up and like wash it, move through you in a big way. You're being like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. You're reassuring yourself. You're giving yourself the safety that you need in order to process these feelings. Another thing can be is like, I'm safe. That can be another thing you tell yourself. I'm safe. I'm safe to feel these feelings. I'm okay to feel these feelings. These are just feelings. You can almost just like normalize it and be like, these are literally just feelings. I felt so many feelings before in my life and I'm still here. Like, I'm fine. Third thing is, I'm going to figure this out. I've got this. It's going to be okay. I'm going to figure it out. I'm capable. When you say this again to yourself, you are reinforcing a confident and positive and safe mindset. What is not safe is telling yourself, I'm not okay. I don't even know what's going to happen. This is the worst case scenario. Oh my God, I'm freaking out. And you're basically just talking into a loop of fear. And again, I want to reiterate, still having feelings of fear will exist, but you don't release that fear if all you're doing is saying the same thing that's fear-based over and over and over again. You're just creating that loop that's keeping you stuck. Sorry about that. And that's not what I want for you. I certainly don't like to be in that space. So that's why I was just like, I'm going to be fine. I just need to feel my feelings. And in my feelings is just a lot of grief and sadness and disappointment. And I even also said to my partner, like, I'm fine. This is disappointing. I will survive disappointment. I've survived it a million times. I'm okay. That's my narrative. This is what allows me to have these big feelings and not be stuck in them longer than I need to. The past is the past. So if I've been stuck in these feelings for the last 6 months, 3 months, whatever, okay, that it's already done. I can't go back and change it. But today I feel so much lighter. Today I feel so much better because yesterday I had the ability to really process a lot of what I was feeling. Again, that was below the surface. Kind of like knocking at the door, letting me know oh yeah, we would like to make an appearance. We would like to show up in your life for a little bit. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to welcome you in. And there were other times where I would go to check in and I was feeling fine. I wasn't necessarily triggered. I wasn't necessarily any type of way. And I would say, how do I feel? And I would feel that low level pain. I would feel that low level anxiety, sadness for sure. And it was just there, but it wasn't coming up. You know what I mean? My eyes weren't getting wet. I wasn't crying. I wasn't in my chest. I didn't feel that pain in my heart. And that wasn't present. So I just kind of sat with it and I was like, yeah, when it wants to come up, it'll come up. Because I also trust my body. And this is another mindset thing. Trust your body. Trust your body. Your body knows what it's doing. If it's bringing this and it's kind of again, on the fringes or on the outskirts of your sphere, so to speak, that's fine. That's exactly where it's supposed to be. Your body's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Because the flip side is you analyzing and pushing it down. The flip side is you being like, why isn't this happening now? And then starting to freak yourself out and make yourself a more nervous wreck. We don't want that. We want calm. We want acceptance of wherever we are at in whatever moment. Radical acceptance. When I think about the Empress Tarot, and for those of you who speak tarot language, you'll get this. I think about how she allows everything. Everything, there's a cycle and there's a season. There is nothing new under the sun for her. She understands that everything exists and it's whatever. She doesn't try to focus on things that she can't control. And so when we're processing our feelings, I believe that allowing ourselves to just be where we're at is one of the most radically compassionate things that we can do for ourselves. And if I believe that for you, obviously I'm going to need to apply that for myself as well. So I live my life by that, right? By just checking in. Whatever feeling is there, it is what it is. I expect a feeling to be there and it's not there, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I'm going to keep going on with my day. But I want you to know you're not alone. I want you to know but putting pressure on yourself to feel a feeling when it's not ready to come up yet is not helpful. And I want to help you out. the way that you can allow your feelings to come up, or the way that you can practice this safety, one is that mindset check. Okay, I just gave you a couple things that you can kind of circulate in your mind, your new narrative. But then the other thing is the breathing. Really like putting a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly and just kind of gently holding yourself there. That touch can be really powerful and, again, very calming and very reassuring, which helps you really settle in. And when you're feeling that settled, calmer, more grounded energy, your feelings are more likely, your emotions are more likely to start rising up to the surface and then just flowing through you. And I feel like we take for granted the touch of ourselves. You know, I know that we so desperately want touches from other people. You know, we want that hug or that kiss or that hand squeeze. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. I think it's fine to want that. We're wired for human connection. It makes complete sense to me. However, in the moment where it's not possible because people are not around, or people are not, the actual people in your environment are not safe for you to like get that from, it's so important that you give that to yourself, because do not neglect your needs. Like, don't neglect your needs. Give yourself what you can give yourself. And I know how good it feels from another person, but you can learn to feel good about how you give it to yourself. You can learn that your touch means just as much as the touch from your partner, or from the little, you know, love nudges from your pets and everything. You mean that much. Like I mean that much to myself. I love when I hold my hand. I do this all the time. I do this especially when I'm like honestly working out. If I'm like doing lunges or something, and squats, I'm like squeezing my hands together because I'm like, oh, I got this. And so yeah, in this moments where I'm like feeling something and I don't even know what it is, and I'm sensing into it and understanding it, my hand is usually on my chest area. And then another hand is on my stomach area. And sometimes I notice that I have like pain in my neck and shoulders. That's where I carry a lot of my stress. And so I actually sometimes just put a hand like on the back of my neck and like just gently rub a little bit. Again, something that feels calming and grounding and reassuring, letting me know I can release the stress and tension in my body. These little things, these little moments of self-care, they add up, and they allow you and I to free flow those emotions when they're ready. I don't think it's healthy to go poking around all the time and to provoke ourselves when we're not fully available for that. I think it's important that we understand the way that we're wired, right? The way that we're designed. We are designed to flow with our emotions, and some are complex and some just take longer to come to the surface than others. But in the process of getting to know yourself, you'll probably notice how some things are real quick, real sharp, real punchy, real painful and hot maybe, and then other things are more like, how can I even describe the way I was feeling? Like, if I could, other than like the language of like depression or, yeah, there was definitely some anger there. I was feeling pretty angry about some things, and that made me feel like I needed to jump into action, and I had a lot of talking and processing to do about it. And then after the anger subsided, there was just a lot of pain that was coming up and disappointment. It felt very heavy, and it also felt very old. And I think that would resonate with some of you. I don't know that it went back to like childhood old, but I do feel like it was appropriately aligned with the fact that I've been dealing with this since like 2018. And so I was like, yeah, that's just like, this isn't new to me, but it's also just still as equally disappointing as the first time it happened. So cool. Yeah, you know, the feels that we feel are all good, all valid, all necessary. And they have led me to make different choices in my life, choices that are going to protect me, and choices that have allowed me to be closer to the people around me and the work that I'm doing. And that's something that I'm very excited about, and I really, really value, because I freaking love what I do. I love what I do, and I'm so good at what I do, and I have so much to offer that when I start to get taken away from the things that I care about, I really freak out. And that comes in my life. It comes out. It manifests as depression. It manifests as anxiety. So, yeah, I feel like I'm coming back into my center. I don't remember if I mentioned that on another podcast or maybe on Instagram, but coming back into my center has been a phrase that I've been using for the last couple of months, pretty much ever since moving back here to San Diego. And I'm so grateful. I'm so freaking grateful. And I'm also pretty sure, I'm pretty sure that I'm like gonna have to keep crying. And that's just the way that it is. Because that's the season I'm in. I'm in a little crybaby season, and I'm like so okay with it. And I just want to say, if you're in a little crybaby season too, we can be crybaby friends together. Hey girl, hey. Hey girl, hey. Hit me up on Instagram. Send me a little tear emoji on IG, and I'll know we'll be little weeby sisters together. Because sometimes we just need to cry, and sometimes we need to have big tears, and sometimes we need to have those hot tears that just feel like they're never going to stop. And that's fine. It's good. It's normal. It's healthy. It's all releasing. But like I said, if you have found yourself lately in a place where you know there's some low level emotions or some big feelings, and they're just not really coming up in the way that you want, try the mindset shift. Try the just, touching yourself really gently shift, and see if that does anything for you. See if that helps you process and feel and release. Because again, there's nothing wrong if you know they got to come up and they're just not ready. That's fine. Even telling yourself that will help you feel safe, as opposed to judging and wondering why aren't they, and thinking there's a problem. There's not a problem. It's fine. You're totally good. I love you. We are complex people. Let's try to make this as simple as possible. Okay, let's normalize what we're going through. I love you. I hope this helps, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye.